Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalachanji, Radha Kalachanji, Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jaya Srila Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Today, our dear temple president was scheduled to give class. I'm sorry for the disappointment. Hopefully, we'll get to hear from him sometime soon. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can chant this together. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Today we are going to continue from Canto 8 and we will start chapter 18. Lord Vamanadev, the dwarf incarnation. This is the perfect time for this chapter to come because we've been having back-to-back festivals, right? We celebrated Balaram Purnima 2 weeks ago. Then came the grand festival of Janmashtami. And then we celebrated Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. And now we are waiting for Radha Ashtami, which is next Sunday. Right after Radha Ashtami is Vaman Dwadashi. Following after a few days of Radha Ashtami, we have Vaman Dwadashi. So it's really nice to always prepare our consciousness to welcome the Lord. The Lord actually appears, and as devotees, we try to keep listening to these pastimes, these beautiful pastimes of the appearance of the Lord and the activities of the Lord, because they are not common. They are very transcendental. And the more and more we hear about the birthdays of the Lord, we don't have to celebrate our birthdays anymore, which means that we don't have to keep taking birth again and again, again and again. So it's really important, even Bhagavad Gita emphasizes on the fact that we need to understand that the appearance of the Lord is extremely transcendental. It is not like any common person taking birth. So without any further ado, we will start reading the translations. Today we will cover text 1 through 19. Yes, please start, Raseshwari. Text 1.
Shukadeva Goswami said, after Lord Brahma had thus spoken, glorifying the Supreme Lord's activities and prowess, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was never subject to death like an ordinary living being, appeared from the womb of Aditi. His 4 hands were decorated with a conch shell, club, lotus, and disc. He was dressed in yellow garments, and his eyes appeared like the petals of a blooming lotus.
The body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, blackish in complexion, was free from all inebrieties. His lotus face, decorated with earrings resembling sharks, appeared very beautiful, and on his bosom was the mark of Srivatsa. He wore bangles on his wrists, armlets on his arms, a helmet on his head, a belt on his waist, a sacred thread across his chest, and ankle bells decorating his lotus feet.
An uncommonly beautiful garland of flowers decorated his bosom, and because the flowers were extremely fragrant, a large group of bees, making their natural humming sounds, invaded them for honey. When the Lord appeared wearing the kustaba gem on his neck, his effulgence vanquished the darkness in the home of Prajapati Kashyapa.
At that time, there was happiness in all directions, in the reservoirs of water like the rivers and oceans, and in the core of everyone's heart. The various seasons displayed their respective qualities, and all living entities in the upper planetary system, in outer space and on the surface of the earth were jubilant. The demigods, the cows, the Brahmins, and the hills and mountains were all filled with joy.
So auspicious.
On the day of the Shravana Dasi, the 12th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Bhadraj, when the moon came into the lunar mansion, Shravana, at the auspicious moment of Abhit, the Lord appeared in the universe. Considering the Lord appearance very auspicious, all the stars and planets from the sun of the Saturn were magnificently charitable.
O king, when the Lord appeared on Dvadasi, the 12th day of the moon, the sun was at the meridian, as every learned scholar knows. This Dvadasi is called Vijaya. Conch shells, kettle drums, drums, banavas, and anakas vibrated in concert. The sound of these and various other instruments was tumultuous.
Text 8. Being very pleased, the celestial dancing girls, Apsaras, danced in jubilation. The best of the Gandharvas sang songs, and the great sages, demigods, Manus, Pitas, and fire gods offered prayers to satisfy the Lord.
Next on what? The Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Kimpurushas, Kinnaras, Chanaras, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Suparnas, the best of serpents, and the followers of the demigods all showered flowers on Aditi's residence, covering the entire house, while glorifying and praising the Lord and dancing.
Thank you. Text 11, when Aditi saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had appeared from her own womb, having accepted a transcendental body by his own spiritual potency, she was struck with wonder and was very happy. Upon seeing the child, Prajapati Kashyap exclaimed, Jai, Jai, in great happiness and wonder.
Jai. Prabhuji, you can read one more, then we can pass.
Okay. Text 12. The Lord appeared in his original form with ornaments and weapons in his hands. Although his ever-existing form is not visible in the material world, he nonetheless appeared in this form. Then in the presence of his father and mother, he assumed the form of Vamana, a Brahmana dwarf, a brahmachari, just like a theatrical actor. Theatrical
Actor. Yeah, next. Now we continue till text 19. Text 13 right now.
Text 13.
Yeah.
When the great sages saw the Lord as the brahmachari dwarf Vamana, they were certainly very pleased. Thus they placed before them Kashyapa Muni, the Prajapati, and performed all the ritualistic ceremonies, such as the birthday ceremony, which we just appeared in Lord Krishna's Janmashtami. So here we go.
Text 14. At the sacred thread ceremony of Vamanadev, the sun god personally uttered the Gayatri mantra. Brihaspati offered the sacred thread, and Kashyapa Muni offered a straw belt.
Mother Earth gave him a deer skin, and the demigod of the moon, who is the king of the forest, gave him a Brahmana danda, the rod of the brahmachari. His mother Aditi gave him cloth for underwear, and the deity presiding over the heavenly kingdom offered him an umbrella.
O king, Lord Brahma offered a water pot to the inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead. The seventh sage offered him kusha grass, and Mother Saraswati gave him a string of rudraksha beads. When Vamanadev had thus been given the sacred thread, Kuvera, king of the Yakshas, gave him a pot for begging alms, and Mother Bhagavati, the wife of Lord Shiva and most chaste mother of the entire universe, gave him his first alms.
Having thus been welcomed by everyone, Lord Vamanadeva, the best of the brahmacharis, exhibited his Brahman effulgence. Thus, he surpassed in beauty that entire assembly, which was filled with great saintly brahmanas.
You can read the last one also.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
After Lord Sri Vamanadeva set a sacrificial fire, he offered worship and performed a fire sacrifice on the sacrificial field.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
So we'll go to text 12, today's focus. Please repeat after me. Yattadvapurбhati vibhushanayudhaira avyaktachidyaktamadharaya dharihi babhuvatnev sa vamano vatuha sampashyatordivyagatiryatha nataha yattadvapurбhati vibhushanayudhaira avyaktachidyaktamadharaya adharaya dharihi babhuvatenev sa vamano vatuha sampasyator divyagatiryatha nataha. Please recite. Yattadvapurбhati vibhushanayudhaira avyaktachidyaktamadharaya dharihi babhuvatenev sa vamano vatuha sampasyator divyagatiryatha nataha yattadvapurбhati vibhushanayudhaira avyaktachidyaktamadharaya dharihi babhuvtanev sa vamano vatuha sampasyator divyagatiryatha nataha yattadvapurбhati vibhushanayudhaira avyaktachidyaktamadharaya dharihi Babhuv tanev sa vamano vatuha. Sampashyato divya gatir yatha nataha. Yatadvapurbhati vibhushanayudhaira. Avyakta chidvyaktamadharayadharihi. Babhuv tanev sa vamano vatuha. Sampashyato divya gatir yatha nataha. Thank you so much. Let's move on to word translation and we can recite this together, please. Yat, which, tat, that, vapuha, transcendental body, bhati, manifests, vibhushana, with regular ornaments, ayuddehe, and with weapons, avyakta, unmanifested, chit vyaktam, spiritually manifested, adharayat, assumed, harihi, the Lord, babhuva, immediately became, tena, with that, eva, certainly, saha, he, the Lord, vamanaha, dwarf, vatuha, a brahmana brahmachari, sampashyatoha, while both his father and mother were seeing, divya gatihi, whose movements are wonderful, yatha, as, nataha, a theatrical actor. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord appeared in his original form with ornaments and weapons in his hands. Although this ever-existing form is not visible in the material world, he nonetheless appeared in this form. Then, in the presence of his father and mother, he assumed the form of Vamana, a Brahman dwarf, a brahmachari, just like a theatrical actor. The word nataha is significant. An actor changes dress to play different parts, but is always the same man. Similarly, as described in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord assumes many thousands and millions of forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham. He is always present with innumerable incarnations. Ramadi Murtishu Kalani Yamena Tishthan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Nonetheless, although he appears in various incarnations, they are not different from one another. He is the same person with the same potency and the same eternity and the same spiritual existence, but he can simultaneously assume various forms. When Vamanadev appeared from the womb of his mother, he appeared in the form of Narayana, with 4 hands equipped with the necessary symbolic weapons, and then immediately transformed himself into a brahmachari, Vatu. This means that his body is not material. One who thinks that the Supreme Lord assumes a material body is not intelligent. He has to learn more about the Lord's position. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma jame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. One has to understand the transcendental appearance of the Lord in his original transcendental body, Satchidananda Vigraha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatite Shatarine. So, like we were discussing in the beginning, this is such a nice time to discuss about the appearance of Lord Vamandev, because after Radha Ashtami, 2 days, 3 days later after that, we are going to celebrate Vamana Dwadashi. And it's so wonderful. We read all the translations and we saw how amazing is everything in the world when the Lord appears. just like Janmashtami, we see how when it was announced to Kansa that Krishna would be appearing in the womb of Mother Devaki, the 8th son, all the demigods were ecstatic. In fact, if nobody, maybe a lot of you might know this fact, that announcement was not going to happen at first, the Akashvani, as we say. Because when demigods saw that Kamsa with so much love and so many gifts was taking his sister Devaki to Vasudev's house, all the demigods were scared that, see, Krishna is very merciful. If he sees that Krishna will see this one act, that Kansa is so wonderful that he took my parents from his house, and with so much love, with grand procession, he took him there, he escorted them. Then what if Krishna decides to not kill Kansa? And so all the demigods gathered together, went to Lord Brahma, and then this Akashvani happened because they wanted to show the real nature of Kamsa. The moment Kansa heard that his nephew would be the cause of his death, he immediately wanted to kill Devaki. And we know the rest after that, what happened. And so when Krishna, finally that day came, when in the Bhadra month, Krishna Paksh, and the 8th day, that as we say Ashtami, when the Lord was going to appear, it was such a wonderful sight. First of all the demigods appeared in the sky, and a lot of demigods took birth in that dynasty because they wanted to welcome the Lord. Not just that, we see, when did Krishna appear? At night, midnight, right? Why? What was the reason? It was super dark and it was raining. So there are many explanations our acharyas give, and the explanation is that when it's nighttime, people are usually inside the house. And even if they're not inside, when it's raining so strongly, and it was like raining cats and dogs, even the people who were on the streets, they would also go inside. And that's why Krishna wanted to appear at that time when nobody was there, so that Vasudev could carry him to Gokul, to Nand Maharaj. And also, such a beautiful thing that the rains that were happening, it was not just coincidence, but the clouds, they were so happy that Krishna had finally taken their complexion, the darkish, bluish, darkish color, which is the complexion of a cloud which is filled with rain. And because they wanted to offer something to the Lord, what is it that the clouds can offer? Water. Yeah, their tears with so much love. It's like Patram Pushpam, we can say Jalam also. They wanted to offer with water with so much love that they just gave all the water they had, and they showered so beautifully. And we also see that Balaram, in the form of the Sheshnag, he had come to protect the Lord, and the whole time he was behind Vasudev so that he wouldn't scare the devotee, he wouldn't scare Vasudev. So there were so many things. When the Lord appears, everything becomes auspicious. And as we read, when Vamadev appeared, you see how all the planets also aligned in an auspicious manner. Imagine when we take birth, we have to, like, our parents go to an astrologer, this is the nakshatra, this is, Rahu is, very heavy, like this is inauspicious time, this is auspicious time, and then they suggest so many remedies that, for your child's welfare, you should do this and that. But when Krishna appears, even the planets align in the most auspicious manner. All the rivers and mountains were filled with joy. Everybody's hearts was filled with love and satisfaction when the Lord was appearing. And so by this we can understand that Krishna is not an ordinary human, right? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah taktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. A person who understands that the appearance and the activities of the Lord are transcendental, divyam, they are transcendental and are not ordinary, that person does not have to come back and take birth. So like if we celebrate the birthday of the Lord, we don't have to come back and celebrate our birthday anymore. We think it's auspicious that, we take birth here, but it's the beginning of, it's the continuation of the cycle of birth and death again and again. And it's also explained in the translations that even if the Lord appears, let's say he has taken one incarnation, out of the unlimited incarnations, the Lord, comes in. But let's say if he takes one incarnation, he can at the same time appear in multiple places. And even if when he's, let's say, in a form of a baby, his power doesn't diminish. We see how he killed Putna just after a few days of his birth. Not ordinary child cannot do that. Not just that, he also gave the position of a mother to somebody who tried to kill Krishna. And so many demons he killed just at such a young age. Is there anybody who can lift a mountain? Not just at the young age, but at any age. Nobody can do that. So the pastimes of the Lord cannot be doubted, and the appearance of the Lord cannot be doubted. So we see that all the demigods appeared, they were singing, all the apsaras were dancing, they were glorifying the Lord, they were showering flowers, the house of Aditi, they were just showering so many flowers, and the drums and conch shells were being blown. And it's mentioned so nicely that the reservoirs of water, like the rivers in the ocean, had all happiness. Even in the core of everyone's heart, in the core of everybody's heart was happiness. Imagine, at this point, you're all sitting, suddenly there is just, for no reason, you all feel ecstatic. For some reason. Usually that happens when we hear some nice Harikatha happening. That should happen actually, that when we hear the stories, the pastimes of the Lord, it should fill our heart with love, happiness, and auspiciousness. And that's what everybody experiences when the Lord appeared. And when the Lord appeared, he took the form, he came as Narayana. So he had this big Narayan form with all the weapons, the ornaments, and the yellow garment that the Lord usually wears. He gave that darshan to his parents. He gave that sight to everybody present there as a blessing to even the demigods. And then he took the form of a dwarf as a brahmachari, as a Vaman Dev. Then he was wearing a sacred thread. And at that time, everybody, the parents and all the demigods, Mother Earth, and so many other demigods, they gifted him so many offerings. We can read that. So they also, in text 13, we see they also performed all the ceremonies, ritualistic ceremonies, such as the birthday ceremony. And they also gave Gayatri also at that time, the thread. The thread ceremony, they also did that. At the sacred thread ceremony of Vamanadev, the sun god personally uttered the Gayatri mantra. Brihaspati offered the sacred thread, and Kashyap Muni offered a straw belt. Mother Earth gave him a deer skin, and the demigods of the moon, who is the king of the forest, gave him a Brahma Danda, the rod of a brahmachari. His mother Aditi gave him cloth for underwear, and the deity presiding over the heavenly kingdom offered him an umbrella. O king, Lord Brahma offered a water pot to the inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 7 sages offered him kusha grass, and Mother Saraswati gave him a string of Rudraksha beads. So we can see usually when we see the form of Vaman Dev, if we can open that on the screen please, the form of Lord Vaman Dev, then we can see all these things that were gifted to him. It's such a beautiful, attractive form. It's so nice, right? When the Lord Lord appears, it's not like us, like he's already wearing a garment. Have you ever seen a baby born with wearing ornaments, jewels, and garland? No. So it'll be very funny. See the parents and around and demigods around Vamanadev. It's such a beautiful form. Any incarnation that the Lord takes, any form, it is so beautiful. Even when he came as a boar, it's like a wild pig. Imagine a wild pig. I mean, saliva is coming out, there's wild hair on the body, the tusks are there, and usually pigs are found in very nice, fragrant places or very stinky places. They're found in places where there's usually dirt. Now imagine Krishna took that form, and even that form becomes the most glorious and most beautiful. That's how amazing the Lord is, that he can take any form and he can appear just the most beautiful personality. That's why it's quite often stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that whenever the Mathuravasis, the residents of Mathura and Vrindavan, they would see Krishna walk by, they wanted to enjoy the whole sight of seeing Krishna, but they would often get stuck at just seeing probably the nail of Krishna. Imagine a nail of Krishna, and they find it so beautiful that they just get stuck at that, and then they realize, okay, I was not able to see the Lord fully in all his glory. But that's how satisfying it is, even just to have darshan of the Lord. What to hear about the past times, but just to have darshan of the Lord is so beautiful. So we all know that the Lord, why the Lord has to keep appearing and then he disappears and does so many activities. We see that the Lord has to appear because there are many reasons. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also explained that he appears when there is decline in dharma, when there are so many demons and he comes to kill them. But he doesn't have to come and do that every time personally. He can always send somebody. But what is the main reason, if somebody can share, what is the main reason? I'm sure you all know that the Lord personally appears. Yes, Madanandini. Yes, if you can repeat that for the audience online.
Saying that the Lord appears in a more, yes, he comes, but when he comes to kill the demons, he comes in his Vasudev feature, not in Nandana. So he engages in these beautiful transcendental pastimes to catch us up in love and devotion for the Lord. In Spanish we say un gusto superior, means to get a higher taste.
Yeah, so the Lord appears personally only because he's so merciful upon his devotees. He doesn't want to send somebody to express the Lord's love. Just like, I think this was a conversation between Akbar and Birbal once. That why, about this particular thing, that why does your Lord appear? Like there are so many incarnations in Hinduism, like why is that? And then Birbal always used to answer Akbar's question in a very clever way, as we all know. Then what happened was Akbar's son fell, or actually Birbal threw him in the water. And Akbar did not send any soldier to save the son, but Akbar, the king, the emperor himself, quickly jumped in the water to save his son. And then Birbal said, why did you have so many soldiers, right? You have a big army. Why did you not send any of your men? He said, well, it's my son. I cannot waste any time. I love my son. I will just do anything to save him. And Birbal said, that's exactly the nature of the Lord. He rushes to protect his devotee. He rushes to express his love. He doesn't want to send anybody. It's not a menial task. It's a big thing. And that's why, we sometimes forget. We often hear how much the devotees love the Lord, how much the devotees glorify the Lord. But we forget how the Lord is always anxious to express his love to his devotees. And that is why the Lord himself appears, leaves his amazing spiritual planet and comes here, descends to this material world only to express love, only to have those loving exchanges with his devotees. We with time, we appreciate this fact more and more when we understand how, first of all, we know how magnanimous, how great this higher authority is, the Supreme Personality of Lord. But it makes us, like, if you see the sequence of Srimad Bhagavatam, it does not straight away come to Canto 10, where they're talking about Krishna stealing butter. But they first build up by telling us, who's a common person, that the Lord is so great. He's the supreme controller. He has all the opulences. He's detached from all those opulences. And, all the amazing qualities we hear. And then comes the sweetness of the pastime. So that when we see, oh wow, this man is so great. He's the ruler of this world. But he's also so loving. He's so humble. He's so kind. That is what makes us appreciate the Lord even more. And that is why we all appreciate when we see Krishna, who's the supreme controller, is running away from his mother because he's so scared. That makes it just the love oozes out in the heart. Because we understand that this is not an ordinary pastime. Krishna wants to leave everything, leave the idea that he's the controller, and wants to take birth and experience the Vatsalya Prem, the parental love of, as a child, he wants to experience that. So we can pause here. If there are any questions, comments, realizations, we can take those. But also in the chapter we further see that the whole pastime, that why Vamandev appears is to show mercy on Bali Maharaj, right? That's the whole idea. I didn't want to cover that part because the next speaker would be doing so from tomorrow. But he shows special mercy to Bali Maharaj. And Lord actually tells Yudhishthira Maharaj that I show special mercy upon my devotee by taking away all his material possessions. That's the mercy, because he knows that the devotee has that weakness of, has that attachment to the material possessions. And then Krishna takes that away so that the devotee can become completely dependent on the Lord. So we'll see how Bali Maharaj will reach to that point, even though he even does not listen to the instruction of his so-called spiritual master, Shukracharya. Because that's where Bali Maharaj uses his intelligence, that a spiritual master is somebody who will bring you closer to the Lord, who will inculcate love within your heart for the Lord, not somebody who will tell you to go away, to turn away from the Lord. Yes, please, go ahead, Mataji.
Krishna, thank you so much for your loving class filled with lots of prema, beautiful bhakti prema. So I was just reading the last paragraph in the purport, that he appears, after he appears with his form as Narayan, he appears like a Brahmana dwarf, brahmachari, just like a theatrical actor.
Yeah.
And I was remembering how Krishna is like a theatrical actor. For example, in Dwarka, in New Vrindavan, when he meets Satyabhama and realizes she's Radharani, and then Rukmini is feeling anxious, so she brings Satyabhama into her inner quarters. And then Krishna, just like a theatrical actor, dresses like a beautiful gopi, so beautiful to go in, and that she's very shy, and ended up going into the quarters, and then Satyabhama realizes, this is really Krishna.
Yeah.
And also there's another beautiful pastime in Vrindavan, again, when Krishna dresses again like a gopi to go in to see Radharani. And she's wondering, who is this amazing person? So Krishna is also like a theatrical actor in many pastimes.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. That was very sweet. Krishna is actually the best actor. He takes so many forms. He can just, like an actor who's an all-rounder, can dance so well even on the hoods of the snake, serpent, Kali and Nag. And there was once a pastime where so Radharani was married to Abhimanyu, right? And she was living in Yavat, which is her in-laws' place. And Krishna always would like to sneak. When there's another sweetness, another level of sweetness when lovers like to meet in a sneakish way. And Krishna loved to do that. So once, I think Mother Yashoda had sent a lot of gifts for Radharani in a big box. And Abhimanyu was the one who was dragging that box, and he was wondering, why is it so heavy? But he was dragging it all the way to Radharani's room. And then he left because he's like, okay, Mother Yashoda has sent something for you, because she always used to send, she loved Radharani. And Radharani opened it. Who appeared? Krishna. And and Radharani was like very happy, but then she pretended to be like, Krishna, why are you doing this? Somebody will catch you. But of course, that sweet banter used to happen. But yes, Krishna is such a wonderful theatrical actor. Nobody can beat him. He's just amazing. There's so many pastimes. Yeah. If there's any other comment. Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you for a wonderful class. I think I mentioned this to you earlier also. You are so good at narrating the pastimes of the Lord. It's relishing. Thank you. I was thinking when you asked this question, what are the various reasons why the Lord appears? So, the Supreme Lord is so sweet, and He's such a multitasker, right? So there are multiple facets to His appearance. So, the thing that comes to my mind is majority of the people, they believe in the formless aspect of the Lord. As is said in the scriptures, the supreme absolute truth can be perceived in three different aspects. The formless is the lowest one. The entire cosmic manifestation is the formless aspect. And then higher than that is the 400 form, which is residing, the localized aspect, which is there in everyone's heart. And the topmost aspect is the supreme person, right, from whom everything emanates, as is said in Bhagavad Gita. So if you see, it's such a beautiful thing, Bhagavad Gita, the very word Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So one of the aspects I was thinking was He Himself had to come and give this message, right? And as you said, He could have sent so many, and He has since time immemorial. He's been sending so many prophets, messiahs, saints, right? Sages. But such a beautiful thing, He Himself comes to deliver that message, isn't it? And that reciprocation with those who believe in the personality aspect of the Lord, they need reciprocation. We have been hearing a lot of philosophy, but when we hear those transcendental pastimes, activities of the Lord, naturally that awakens the love, you know. So I think that is the most beautiful aspect of His appearance. He personally comes, and especially the Vrindavan pastimes. There are so many other pastimes, Dwarka pastimes and everything else, but that Vrindavan pastime, which otherwise would not have been available. So that is the main reason, one of the main reasons, as a multitasker.
That's so nice, because in Vrindavan, the pastime is where they forget that He's the Lord, right? In other pastimes, the Aishwarya Bhav is there. They know that this is the most respectable personality. Like even when Sudama would go and meet Krishna, he would somewhere in his heart know, right? I cannot ask him anything but you will see in Vrindavan, they are jumping on his shoulders and they are pulling Krishna and they are like, hey, you rascal, you go home. You always, when it's your den, you never want to play. So it's another level where they treat Krishna as a friend. And they forget that He is the Supreme Lord because of Yog Maya, not Mahamaya, but in the Yog Maya, because their intelligence, not intelligence is covered, but yes, Krishna does not want to remind them because the sweetness will go away.
It is just like the president of the nation revealing his private life,
Yeah.
making it public, which is everybody wants to know about the president, but president in the office everyone knows, but president at home, that is the sweetest thing about the Supreme Lord, my sweet Lord.
I want to mention one more thing. If anybody has a question, can ask also. So this comparison that I was making, that how we are so ordinary and our birth and death and activities are so filled with, like, there's disease, there's old age, and as compared to the Lord, that everything is transcendental. I was hearing His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj's Bhagavatam, which, I mean, if somebody who knows Hindi, I'm sorry, it's only in Hindi, but it's so relishable. And he was mentioning that, we have this so much pride in our body. What are we made of? The 5 elements. And when we die, these 5 elements go back to where they came from: earth, ether, water, sky, air. They all go back to that place. But in some religions, they don't burn the body. The vultures or some animals will eat it up. Then what will you become? Somebody's tool. He literally said that. And that was like, yeah, like we have so much pride in, who we are, so much, this body, even this body is gone down to dirt, and it just goes back to where it came from. It's all made of matter, is the whole point. But Krishna, his entire body, even if he wakes up, he's so fragrant. It's not that, how we look when we wake up, hair is messed up, and we need to first brush our teeth and, take shower. But Krishna is just, everything is transcendental. His nice fragrance is coming out of his body. His hair is so beautiful. He opens his eyes, which are like lotus petaled eyes. And even here it's mentioned, like his earrings are like sharks. They are so beautiful. So I know I keep on repeating and that, the Lord's form is so beautiful, but no matter how many times I say, it just doesn't do justice, because when we keep reading Bhagavatam, we'll understand that even Srila Prabhupada mentions it so many times, that the Lord is extremely beautiful, and we have no idea, because we have no material level to compare what a real beauty is. And so the only way we can understand Krishna's beauty is through the eyes of devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the only way. Yeah. Any questions? Any comments? Otherwise, we can wrap up. Thank you so much. Let's all pray that, like Krishna appeared, now Radharani will appear, now Vamandev will appear, they all appear in our heart, so that we can welcome, just like the demigods, we can welcome with all our love, and that love may always stay within our hearts. Jai Shri Radha Kalachanji ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant koti vaishnav bhakt vrinda ki Jai.